Hey everybody, welcome to the second episode of See What God Did There. We ended off the first episode discussing the idea that the Jews are being called upon to be the light unto the nations, God's light unto the nations. And the question is, what does that mean? Jews have grappled with this question forever. The non-Jewish nations have grappled with this question forever. Does it mean that Jews are supremacists? Does it mean that Jews are narcissists? What is it about? It's also very apropos and relevant now that we're going into Pesach, because Passover is the time when the Jews literally entered onto the world stage for the first time and entered into their destiny as being a light into the nations. So what does it all mean? So let's go back to the original moment in history when the Jews became the chosen nation. When God made his covenant with Abraham that his children would be the chosen nation, the first thing God said was, your children will be chosen, and now they're going to be slaves in another land. The question is, what does one have to do with the other? If you're chosen, wouldn't you think that's for some kind of higher level, higher status? Why is the first thing that a chosen nation has to go through is slavery? And I think that one of the deeper dimensions here is that God was telling Avram and God was telling us as the Jewish people, in order to be my light, God's light unto the world, you need to be humble and you need to be empathetic. You need to be sensitized to the physical and spiritual realities and suffering of the world. And the most extreme way to be able to experience that, so that no matter who you will come in contact with, in the course of your mission to be light into the nations, whether the most dignified people or the most lowly people, the experience that would bring that the most deepest in your psyche, in the Jewish people's psyche, would be the experience of slavery. Why? Through the slavery, the Jewish people literally became broken in body and spirit, like slaves throughout history, but they also were broken in a spiritual way in terms of their level of holiness. It says that when the Jewish people were in Egypt, they had sunk into the 49th level of impurity. We are taught in Kabbalah that the soul has 7 emotional attributes, emotional traits. Each of the 7 connects with the other and combines with the other 7 to create 49 different distinct emotional attributes. These are the 49 emotional attributes that we work on refining between Pesach and Shavuos during the 49 days of Sfiras HaOmer. But Sfiras HaOmer comes on the heels of the Jews actually leaving Egypt after having descended to the 49th level of impurity. It says that if they had reached the 50th level of impurity, it would have, so to speak, been impossible for God to redeem them. So the Jewish people, through going through slavery, were humbled and sensitized to the suffering of the world and to those who may be in the lowliest station in society. And they were also humbled and sensitized to the test of spiritual falling. The Jews had fallen to the lowest level so that when they would then go out to be light into the nations, they would never judge, they would never look down upon, they would never be supremacists and say, we're better than you. Look how far the Gentile nations have fallen. Because the Jews would always remember that they themselves in that generation, or their ancestors, in us looking back from our generations, we know today that our ancestors in Egypt were broken in body and spirit in slavery, and they were also, so to speak, broken in soul. They had descended to the 49th level of impurity. And so when we look out among the nations of the world, and we're told our job is to be a light to the nations, it's not a question of supremacy or narcissism, or we're better than anybody else. It's remembering that we were the ones who were brought down first to that lowest level of slavery and that lowest level of impurity, so that we would go out to the world with humility, with empathy, and with the confidence and courage in God and God's Torah, knowing that God and his Torah healed us and redeemed us from that brokenness of body, that brokenness of spirit, and that brokenness of soul. And we can bring that light to the other nations with confidence, teaching them and sharing with them the same healing power of Hashem and of Hashem's Torah.